Sales is storytelling, and storytelling is sales. Yet so few sales professionals have ever been formally trained in sales, let alone in how to properly formulate, structure a story so that the audience, aka the client or the customer, has that warm, fuzzy feeling that just tells them in their gut that this is the right person or the right product for them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC
John Coleman.
Dio, what's poppin'?
Football season is in full swing, and it is Super September here at T-Lob.
Oh, Super September. What does that mean, Dustin?
Yeah, John's like, hey, wake me up and let me come to that party.
Yeah, is it a party?
It is a party.
Oh.
You are 100% welcome to come and join us.
Can't wait.
So check this out. Somehow, some way, and I know how I did this. I backed myself into a corner.
As you normally
I overcommitted. I got too excited. I said yes to everything.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And now we're just going to call it Super September.
Okay.
Because never, ever once in the history of T-Lop have we had 4 free masterclasses all in the same month.
Oh.
And all 4, we are bringing in icons and legends to coach our community. And we're doing it for all. Not just for those that pay, John. I know how you think. You're like, hey, make sure we don't let anyone in unless their membership dues are up to.
That sounds just like you stuttering your way through. You know damn well I don't even sound like me, but go ahead. Good try.
You know how you are in those Monday morning meetings?
Yeah.
Berating the sales team.
Camera off, mic off, even when questions are asked of me. Hold on, let me scramble. But yes.
But no, so Super September. So on Monday the 8th, if you're listening to this when it first drops, here's what you have in store. On Wednesday, September 10th, the legend, Todd Duncan.
No way.
Yeah, Todd Duncan. We've talked about Todd for 5 years on this show. Todd's one of the first guys that I looked up to when I was a young, hungry loan originator trying to figure it all out.
Oh, wow.
Right? Todd had the coaching company. He had the cassette tapes. He had the New York Times best-selling books. And Todd's going to come on and he's going to do something with us. It's going to be a free masterclass, 45 minutes. I'm going to moderate it. Todd's going to be the guest. And it's going to be amazing. Okay, so that's on the 10th.
Okay.
Right afterwards, like the next day, September 11th, Thursday, we have our guy Sean Chalice coming in.
Okay.
So Sean is a top producing loan officer, but he spent 20 years as a realtor, a top producing realtor, and one of the top real estate coaches in the industry. Like this guy and Tom Ferry, like they're boys, right? At least back in the day, they used to hang out. They did the same masterminds together. And Sean's going to come on and he's going to do this again. We're opening this up to any loan originator in America. So you don't have to be a part of the T-Lop coaching community to have access to this. Yeah. We're doing it because it's Super September. So Sean's going to come on and Sean's teaching a class. Yes, it's for loan originators, but really it's for their realtors. So this is a realtor class. Like think about what if you're a part of a coaching community or a branch and your branch were to do virtual lunch and learns, because your branch wanted to give you, John, the loan officer, a reason to text, call, email your entire realtor database, as well as post on social so that you can draw a lot of attention to what you do for a living, which is help realtors sell more homes and make more money. Well, we're doing that for the mortgage brokers and the loan officers in the United States, where Sean's going to come on. Sean's going to, bestow on us, but he's going to present for realtors the 3 things they need to do to dominate in this market. Okay, so the same exact thing Todd Duncan's doing on the 10th of September, which is a Wednesday, for loan officers and mortgage brokers. Sean's going to follow it up the next day and do the same exact thing, but this time with realtors being the key audience. So loan officers tuning in, this is one of those events that you're going to want to market to and promote to realtors that because you tune into this show, because you get our newsletter, because you coach with us, you now have access to this event and we invite them to come on as a value add. They get to be your VIP guest. Nice. So, okay, that's September 10th and 11th. The following week on September 16th, we're bringing back our guy, Dave, the mortgage guy, Dave from Mortgage Nuggets, right? The guy that has arguably one of the best newsletters in the space. a guy who actually generates leads from his emails and from his newsletters. Dave's coming back, and he's going to be teaching an event on a Tuesday, which is the 16th, which is basically how to send emails that don't suck. How to send an email that's going to actually book an appointment. How to send an email that actually generates leads. And then 2 days later, our boy Luke Shankula, coming off his second consecutive back-to-back sellout event on marketing and using AI, Luke's going to do something exclusive for the TLOP community on Thursday the 18th. All the information that you need is on our website, tloponline.com. Go to the events tab, and when you click the events tab, you will see every event. You'll be able to click on the free ones, and you'll be able to register. Whew.
Fascinating stuff, Dustin.
You seem fascinated, John, but we're going to jump right into today's episode just for you. And really the catalyst to today's episode is I have a student of mine, and shout out to Phil Crescenzo. You guys are going to be hearing me talk about Phil. He's become a friend, but I met him when he paid to go through some coaching with me. And Phil is the number one new construction lender in the state of South Carolina.
What?
Number one, like $150 million a year.
Damn.
In new construction. What's crazy, he doesn't work for a builder. So his mortgage company is not like, he doesn't work for Lennar. He doesn't work for DHI. No, he works for a small national IMB. Phil dominates builder turn down business. Phil knows how to manually underwrite a loan better than most underwriters know how to manually underwrite a loan. So I want to have Phil on. I want to have him on as a podcast interview because I think he's a really cool story. Because he was someone, if you said he failed at something before, I guess he failed at digging ditches, working construction at 19 years old, and said, I freaking hate this. Yeah. There has to be a better way to earn a living and do something I love to do.
Yeah.
And he found the mortgage industry. But what I would love for Phil to do is actually teach others how to turn a no into a yes by understanding manual underwrites on FHA and VA loans, specifically, and then how to take someone else's turn down and turn it into a yes, because Phil is truly helping promote homeownership because he's doing the loans that most people say no to. So anyhow, Phil had an opportunity to go on Brad Lee's podcast. And I don't know Brad Lee. I know of Brad Lee. It's LEA. But supposedly he's a pretty successful guy with a really successful podcast. So Phil reaches out and says, Dio, how much do I need to pay you to get me ready to podcast prep? I'm like, Phil, you don't pay me anything. Right? My business coach would be pissed that I said that. I'm like, look, you're a coaching student. We're friends now. I can spend 30 minutes with you helping you get prepped for just not sucking on someone else's podcast. But while I was helping Phil prep, I started thinking, wait a minute. These are all things that I use in my daily, not just on the podcast, but also when I'm selling. That I wonder how many people aren't already using these tips, these tactics, these strategies that I've picked up along the way. Now, I've picked up along the way because I did become a student to sales, whether it was Sandler sales training, whether it was spending time with Renee Rodriguez so I could amplify my influence, whether it was studying other professional speakers, whether it's hanging out with guys like Jamie Miller. Like, there's an art to selling. There's an art to storytelling. And because it's something that interests me and not sucking interests me, then over 20 plus years of doing this, I have listened to people that turned me off and said, well, I want to do less of that. And I've listened to people that I just felt like, why in my gut do I just trust this person? Yeah. And I'm like, I want to be more like them. And sometimes it's an accent. I can't do accents. Sometimes it's in how someone dresses. I can impact my appearance. Sometimes it's in how someone carries themselves, but most times it's in how people make the other person feel. And that feeling a lot of times is a subconscious, not a conscious feeling. Meaning I'm talking to you and you're like, damn, I like that guy. Damn, I trust that guy. Damn, that guy's full of shit. Damn, that guy's arrogant. Whatever the case may be, it's not necessarily always the words we use. It may be in the voice inflection, or it may be in the manner that we use the words. So today, I want to highlight 4 things that I taught Phil to make sure he did on his podcast episode with Brad Lee that I think all of us can take into our daily lives whenever we're presenting or we are presenting. What did I say, presenting or presenting? Presenting or we're pitching. Okay, so you're either presenting one-on-one, you're presenting one-to-many, or you're pitching an idea or you're pitching a product. So in no particular order, John, what are the 4 things that I want someone to take away from today's podcast episode?
Okay.
Number 1 is I literally want you all to start using in your presentation, in your pitching, simple phrases. And the first phrase is, I want you to listen to this because you will learn. Hey, John, I want you to listen to this because at the end of it, you will learn the importance of every story having a beginning and an end.
Right.
Hey, John, I want you to listen to this because at the end, you'll understand that underwriters aren't big, bad, evil people, and they just have a job to do. Hey, John, I want you to listen to this because at the end, you're going to learn why it's not your credit score that actually matters as much as it is your debt to income ratio. So whatever the case may be, if we can start incorporating phrases like, I want you to listen to this because you will learn. It's my way of saying, slow down your thoughts, stop going into that la-la land that we all go where we zone out. We're looking at somebody, we're nodding our heads, but we're zoned out. We're thinking about dinner. We're thinking about what we didn't do this morning, etc. And it's my way of drawing the listener back in. And I'm also making it about them because here's what you'll learn. Perfect. Starting including and incorporating those phrases into whether it's a presentation you're doing on Zoom, a presentation you're doing on a main stage in front of 200 people, or you're sitting in a coffee shop one-on-one. It's a great way to get somebody to intently tune into what you're saying. You cool with that so far?
Yeah, I understand.
No questions?
I understand. Translation is witchcraft. You're trying to use your words to manipulate my thought patterns. Got it.
All right. Next one. And these are all very similar. Hey, John, you'll want to write this down. You get someone in an audience or you get someone on the phone with you. But I would sometimes say, hey, John, are you in a spot where you have a pen?
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to want to write this down. And then I take a pause. And that is a pause for dramatic effect. That's a pause to let John get a pen. It's a pause to have John think, what's he going to share with me? But whatever I'm getting ready to share, it's the point that I want him to listen to the most. So I will slow things down and say, hey, John, you're going to want to write this down. And then I go right into what I'm saying. Hey, John, you're going to want to, except for do this. Don't do what I just did.
No, start with confidence.
Don't speed yourself through it. You're going to need some practice. Let me get a sip of water.
Sip of water first. That's tip number 1 before you start your pitch.
Wet the whistle.
Wet the lips.
Wet the whistle. All right.
You've been talking a lot today, Dustin.
I'm having a hard time
even for you
today. Holy cow.
Shit. Don't worry. We'll take it from the top.
All right.
Lady.
Hey, John, I'm going to want you to write this down. Most people, when they think of coaching, they think of someone yelling at them, screaming at them, making them cry, making them feel bad about themselves. John, that's not how we operate over at T-Lobs Originator Coaching. I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm just saying that's not how we do things. Hey, John, I'm going to want to, there I go again. Hey, John, I'm going to want for you to write this down. And then I pause.
Question for you. How long should you wait for that awkward pause before you hop back in? Should you just wait and not say anything, wait for them to say anything? Like
I read this book and it was, what was it? It was like speak like Churchill, stand like Lincoln.
Yeah, I remember you saying
and that. It talks about a 3 to 5 second pause, which for most of us
eternity.
In sales, it feels like 2 freaking years. So for me, my number would be 3 seconds.
Okay.
If you can extend it to 5, extend to 5. Sometimes he or she that speaks first loses in sales. So you want the other person to speak first. That is way too much silence for me. And I knew I was going to lose that game with you.
No.
Because you gave me that look. Yep.
But
yes, but it would be, John, I'm going to want to write. Wow. John, I'm going to want you to write this down.
Yeah.
And then I pause. Now, when I'm done pausing, then I go into what I want to say. Not all mortgages are created equal. Write that down for me. Not all mortgages are created equal. And then what I mean by that is ... which helps me actually parlay into the third tip that I want to share with y'all.
Okay.
Because too few times do we actually slow down and tell people why it is that we're getting ready to say the things that we're getting ready to say. Like we don't. So I would tell you tip number 3 is this is what this means to you. Hey, John, I'm getting ready to tell you something, and it's going to be super important because this is what it means to you. John, I'm getting ready to talk to you about why our students have the success that they have. And it's important to you because all of these students were once just like you. So I'm telling you up front, this is what I'm telling you, and this is what it means to you, or this is why it's important. Too few times we skip that step, and we assume the person that we're talking to fully understands what it is that we're saying. But here's the deal. They don't do what we do for a living. They don't speak our language. They don't use our jargon. They get up and spend 8 to 10 hours a day, every single day, doing what they do for a living. We get up and do what we do for a living. So we can't talk to them as if they're a colleague. We need to talk to them as if they are in 4th grade. And sometimes when talking to a 10-year-old, which is a 4th grader, we need to be able to say, this is what this means to you. Then you can be like, okay. What I'm also doing here is I'm making it about you. I'm not making it about me. I'm making it about you. And if I can tell you this is what it means to you, I'm telling you I care about you, John. I'm also saying I will take care of you, John, because I'm letting you know what this means to you. Just like the 4th tip, here's why this is important. So you can say you'll want to write this down. This is what this means to you, but you'll also say, here's why this is important. So I'm slowing down, and it's like I am your chauffeur for the night. I'm your concierge. I am your private tour guide. And I know you've been listening for 30 minutes, but these are the 3 minutes that are going to matter the most. So I'm going to share with you, here's why this is important. So in summary, or if we were going to make like a reel out of this, I would say to the camera and to the audience, I would say, here are 4 sales tactics that when deployed properly, you can become a better storyteller while also showing your counterpart or your audience that you care about their needs. They are: utilize the phrase, I want you to listen to this because you will learn, or incorporate, you'll want to write this down. Add into your presentation, this is what this means to you, or even find ways to weave in the following. Here's why this is important. The minute we can start answering, here's why this is important. The minute we can start answering, this is what this means to you, we start building trust with our audience. Sometimes it's a subconscious, just in my gut, I like this person. The minute we can start slowing down and telling them, giving them instructions to write this down, we're pointing out the important parts. And then finally, as just a reminder, we will always want them to listen to us, but we tell them that we want to listen to us because we're going to teach something. Tell them up front, by listening to me today, you're going to learn X. Now you're setting proper expectations. These are the things, whether you're going on a podcast, you're speaking in front of a room of 1,000 people, or you're speaking to a room of 1 and that room is a coffee shop. You want to try to incorporate these tactics and strategies into your sales pitch, which is really a storytelling performance. And what I wanted to maybe cap today's episode with is, let's talk about storytelling briefly, because we ain't got a whole lot of time left. But briefly, how can we talk about storytelling? And I think when I talk about storytelling to anybody, it's understanding that stories have a beginning and an end with a middle, right? And that middle is typically where the story peaks. Every story has a hero and a villain, or it has a protagonist and an antagonist. And by the way, the antagonist or the villain does not have to be an actual human being or even an animal. Like, that antagonist or the villain can be a circumstance. It can be a situation. It can be something that happened to you, or as some people like to say, that happened for you. But it doesn't have to be an actual individual. Now, if it is an individual, I will tell you, great stories have names. Even if you have to change the name to protect the innocent. When you're out trying to sell your service or sell a product, do so in a storytelling manner, remembering that stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Stories have heroes, stories have villains, and those heroes and villains have names, and I want you to label the name. Stories also have lessons learned. In school, we read Aesop's Fables, and Aesop's Fable always had some moral of the story. So when we're out selling or presenting or pitching, We need to frame it out into a story because people remember stories, and stories are impactful. And we can become better at building relationships and better at getting people to like and trust us the minute we can start telling a story and then incorporating that story into, here's why this is important for you to know. This is what this means to you. You'll want to write this down while we're telling the story. And lastly, when it comes to stories, we don't need stories to be long, but they need to be detailed. So we don't need to throw in a bunch of extra words if we can get to the point quickly, but let's get to the point while also getting deep, not keeping things surface level. So I wrote down for Phil, I said, Phil, think more details, but less words. And that's something for me to practice because I'm a wordy.
Dustin, not you.
Yes, I am wordy AF. But I can cognizantly try to use less words as long as I can continue to get deep with the details. And then finally, for anyone who's storytelling, cadence. Cadence is very important. Being able to lower your tone of voice so that you can draw someone in. Increase the volume in order to show your excitement. Take a pause so they want to lean in and listen harder. Use voice inflections as a way to keep your audience, which again, it could be an audience of 1 or audience of 200, but you want to keep them captivated. We keep them captivated by changing up our cadence. Imagine if we listened to the same song that had the same monotone beat. We'd tune it out pretty quickly. We ourselves need to be animated. Even if you're not loud animated, you can still be soft, stay behind the pendulum, but still use some emotional pauses as well as some varying in your cadence or the speed of delivery as a way to keep your audience tuned into you. And then finally, we learned this when we were in 6th grade English class. But if you're looking at trying to frame out your story, there's a 5-step process that any middle school English teacher can teach you about writing a paper. You tell them what you're going to tell them. You spend the next 3 paragraphs telling them. Then you tell them what they told them, right? So the beginning is, John, I'm going to tell you a story. Here's why this story is important to you. Here's what you're going to learn. And there's going to be certain parts that you're going to want to take notes. Then I spend the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes telling you the story. Every story tends to have 3 parts to it. And at the end, I tell you what I told you. So tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. Be detailed, yet not wordy. Understand that there needs to be a hero, there needs to be a villain, and there needs to be a moral of the story. You start doing that, you'll make more friends. Those friends will start to trust you. Therefore, they'll start referring you. They'll start using you. And you'll see your business go up. All because you spent some time cognizantly focused on how to become better at sales.
Damn, I wish I knew this when I got out of college and I had that sales job selling subprime car leads to JD Byrider.
Do you think you would have actually stuck it out? Because I don't see you cold calling for anybody. John, I could say to you, John, make 100 phone calls right now.
I wouldn't do it for $100,000.
You wouldn't do it for $100,000.
No. And if I had to actually do it, fuck out of here. I ain't doing that.
What if someone held a gun to your head?
Looks like I'm visiting heaven.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty bold of you thinking you're going to heaven.
Wow, Dustin. Well played. Hey, well played.
Hey, how about on that note, I hope you appreciated today's episode. It was a little bit of a lighthearted episode.
No, it was good.
It was very topical because it's something that I just did for Phil. So shout out to Phil again. Super September is a real deal. It's a real thing. Go to our website, tloponline.com. Look at everything that we're doing. Join these free calls. I promise you they don't suck. Share these free calls with your friends in the industry and your colleagues. And then, yes, if you're looking for coaching, you should check out. You're going to be on our website. You might as well check out what we're doing. If you want to connect with me, I'm first name Dustin, last name Owen. I'm all over LinkedIn. It is the best way to connect with me, especially if you want to send me a message. But you should also follow our Instagram account at the Loan Officer Podcast. We're all over YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. Give us those 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And y'all, keep checking back. We're dropping new episodes every Monday, every Friday, with a free training video on YouTube only every single Wednesday. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today. But we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.